Hi there, everybody. Michael Palmer back with you. Toast you. Thanks very much for checking in. This is another in the series of video blogs that I'm doing to sort of introduce new readers to some of my old books and then gradually work our way through the books one at a time, hopefully ending at my new book, which is A Heartbeat Away. I'm working really hard on it, and I'm nearly done, maybe another 2 to 3 weeks. Today I'll be working on a bison stampede in western Kansas. I mean, I've never had one of those, so I'm looking forward to doing bison. I've researched them thoroughly. And also I will remind you that with each of the books that I discussed during these blogs, video blogs, I'll give you a question, and that question will have an answer, which I'll probably include. And those people who get the most answers, that reader, will get a copy of the manuscript of my book, The Corey Prescription, which has never been published in English. And they can see for themselves why, or they can see why I had promise and a career ahead of me from that one book, which a lot of people did discover. So let's see. I'm back from Thriller Fest. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I loved it. I was at Thriller Fest for 4 days last weekend. There were 800 people, authors, agents, publishers, and fans there, and it was easily the best organized convention of its kind that I've ever been to. So I had a great time. The Thriller Master was Ken Follett, and it was great to hang out with people like Harlan Coben and Sandra Brown and Doug Preston and many others. So I was really happy to be part of it. And I did play my accordion with my son, and it was well received. And the accordion's back in the box. So let's talk for a little while about my next book, which was and is Silent Treatment, still in print, and it has done incredibly well over the years and is probably in its 30th printing. It's of some historical interest in that it was the first book, I think, that I wrote that didn't take place in Boston or in New England, because Flash in New Hampshire. But this book takes place primarily in New York, New York City, and it has what I would consider to be the scariest first lines of a prologue that I had written. And if I can remember them, I may be sort of paraphrasing them. The first lines of the book were, "The doctor will see you now." The moment Sanchez heard the words, he knew he was going to die, and die horribly. And that was the first lines of this book, which was about, among other things, insurance companies, managed care, and the notion that the insurance companies could use their computers to predict how much money your illness was going to cost them throughout the entire course of the illness. So as early as possible, they would make a decision that it was not in their best interest for you to go through the entire course of your illness, and they had somebody well placed and very skillful at disguise who could enter your hospital room at a unpleasant time of night and see to it that your illness never really did reach its middle or final stages. And that was the basis of this book. The main character of the book is one that I really loved writing about. Very similar to me in many ways. He was, I think, very close to my age, a general practitioner in New York City who genuinely cared about being a doctor and about not making a lot of money and about just doing it right. The problem was and is that Harry Corbett, the hero of the book, is dying, and least he believes he's dying. He's having chest pain. He's got a family history of cardiac disease. His father and his grandfather started having chest pain at the same age, just about, and now he feels like the clock is ticking on him. So he's basically a great hero, in some respects an anti-hero, and he's pitted against the doctor, the person I mentioned in the prologue. And that's the question for today: is what is the nickname of the villain in this book? And the answer is the Doctor, and that's what he's known by in assassination circles. So you can add that to the other answers that I hope I've given to you. I'm not going to get into great detail on the plot of this book, except to tell you how important it was to me, and how many twists and turns there are in the book. I got a chance to write about alcoholism in this book also, which and a heroine who was in DTs at the time that Harry meets her for the first time. There's a murder mystery underneath it all. There's a mistaken identity. There's a lot of things that made this into a very solid book. It also has what I felt at the time, and still do to some extent, was the best cover of any of my books. A green, shiny foil cover with red printing, and it was pretty scary looking and very effective. So that's Silent Treatment. I hope you pick it up and read it. It's still available, and I hope you enter the contest, and I hope you win the Corey prescription. I'll be back with you to talk about the next book sometime within the next 2 weeks. So for me, it's back to A Heartbeat Away and the great bison stampede I'm going to write about today. Thanks very much for spending time with me.